Hi guys, this is Radhika here again. So today I wanted to make a video on why people keep going back to narcissists. So I know there's a lot of aspects to this, but I just wanted to express one of them, which is actually grief. Um, So yeah, it's grief, grief, grief. So basically, grief is usually something we feel when we have lost someone for good. Like when someone physically stops existing, when you lose a loved one or a loved one dies, you feel grief and um, what happens in that case is you are forced to move on because that person has left the physical body, and so you have to find something else to do. What I feel happens is, and I have experienced this myself, is although I don't have a narcissistic partner, I have been in a narcissistic situation. And after I was going, like, after the big blowout happened and I got to learn about narcissism and everything, and I was feeling all these emotions, I was trying to put a name on what I was feeling because it can get so confusing. So I realized what I was feeling was actually grief. I was feeling grief, and I think we feel grief because in covert narcissistic scenarios where you do not know who these people are, they kind of project a certain thing, and you buy into that vision, you buy into the projection. So they might project that um, this is who we are, and you buy into it and you get attached to it and you start loving it. Okay, and that love is attachment based love, right? It is ego based love. So you want to give love. I'm not saying ego is a bad thing and you just want to take from it, but it is a love which is based on give and take, on the basis that this is you and this is me. It is that kind of a love. It is a conditional kind of a love. So although I'm not saying conditional love is bad, but it is what it is. You cannot love it beyond a point. Um, so yeah so basically, when you have bought into that feeling or to that vision that this is who you are, and suddenly when they show their real face, it is kind of like the death. It is kind of like a death, because you feel like whatever you thought was present is not there anymore, and it immediately transforms, because you cannot in a day transform yourself from something. But if you have been playing a role and you know who you are really, and you stop playing the role, you suddenly become who you are at your core. And so it's very sudden the way a covert narcissist will show their real face. Although you might have seen a little bit here and there, when they actually do it, it suddenly shakes your world, because you thought it was like this but you weren't sure, and now that you have seen the true nature that they have, it suddenly becomes very real, and you feel like you have lost that person that you thought you knew for how many ever years it might have been. And also you might have planned a life around that person. Like if you are in relationship with someone who's a covert narcissist, maybe you planned a life with them. So maybe you planned that we will have so and so kind of a relationship, we will have maybe children or dogs or something like that, and we will live this happy life. Or in my case, I thought like I have a family now. I thought I have a niece and a nephew whom I will love and pamper and give them gifts. And it was not so that they like me, but it was just the whole idea of having, children who are so full of life and full of fun. And I loved giving them gifts and, just making things for them or playing with them. Those were the things that I really loved. But when this situation turned on me, I just realized that the sadness that I'm feeling is not just sadness, it's grief. And then I kind of went deeper into it and I was reading what is grief. And grief is usually felt when you lose a loved one. And this is what is happening in a narcissistic scenario. You are losing people to love because maybe they are not narcissists themselves, or they might even be narcissists but they project it to be something that they are not. And you had inside your emotional body stored a lot of love that you wanted to give to these people. You had the intention to give out love to these people, but now suddenly the object to which you are directing your love has been taken away from you. So what do you do? What do you do with this love? You have all this overflowing love, which if it doesn't have a direction to go, it turns to grief, because you have this love and you something was taken away, so you will focus on the taking away, because the grief because the love is turning into grief now. So what is the way of solving that problem? In what way can you solve that problem? So the problem is that you have overflowing love and you have no one now, or the love that it was meant for whom it was meant, those people have gone away. So you have this love, so you have to give it to people who need it because there are so many people in the world who need your love, who need your care, who need your attention. And I think that is also a reason why people keep going back to their um, narcissistic or abusive partners, because they have this love inside them which keeps turning into grief and which keeps making them mad. So they feel like it's better I give it to that person, maybe it will change that person. So I mean, that could be a reason why people keep going back to the people who have abused them in the first place. um, Other than that, if you want to turn that love of attachment into a love of just simply giving, you can give it to people who actually need it, because there are a lot of people who need it in the world. And moreover, you have tried to give your love to this person and the person has clearly rejected it, or the circumstances are such that even if you give love to that person is never going to realize the value of the love that you are giving that person. So love is a precious thing, and I really hope you give it to people who cherish it, and not for your sake but for the sake of the emotion of love, because it is very rare that someone gives you true love and true care. And when if someone is giving you that, that's just the most precious thing. There can be nothing more precious than that. So I hope if you have that within you, it doesn't turn to grief and you keep it at love and you give that love out to others. Yep, and this is the one quote that I read on Pinterest, and that made me realize what grief is. So I'll just read it out to you. Grief, I've learned, is really just love. It's all the love you want to give but cannot. All of that unspent love gathers up in the corners of your eyes, the lump in your throat, and in that hollow part of your chest. Grief is just love with no place to go. So I think that's what happens to a lot of us. We feel grief because we have a lot of love, and now that love is stuck and it has no place to go. So yeah, so release the love, release it out in the world, and a lot of people in this world need love. Yep, so that was my message for today, or the message of this video. So I wish you all a lot of love and a lot of light. Bye.